California Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to make it as clear as possible, as clear as humanly possible, to the wealthy tech CEOs in Silicon Valley that he will do their bidding. And for some reason, he's doing it in the sketchiest way possible. He's giving them burner phones. Burner phones. You know, the kind of phones that criminals like to use. He wants to give them direct access to the governor in a way that, you know, journalists would not be able to pry into the communications of. Really fascinating stuff here. So as political reporter,
Anna Kasparian is lashing out at California Governor Gavin Newsom for his next level corruption. In this clip, as Anna Kasparian reports about Gavin Newsom being exposed for literally letting corporations have him on speed dial because Gavin Newsom has completely sold out his own people, and Anna Kasparian has had it and goes off. So let's jump in and check it out.
It's roughly 100 leaders of state headquartered companies have received a curious package in recent months, a prepaid, inexpensive cell phone, commonly known as a burner, programmed with Newsom's digits and accompanied by notes from the governor himself. If you ever need anything, I'm a phone call away, read one note to a prominent tech firm CEO printed on official letterhead, along with a hand-scrawled addendum urging the executive to reach out. And guess what? This was perceived as so sketchy that some people in the tech industry were skeptical and even had security concerns when they first received the burner phones. But according to a Newsome representative, the burner initiative was his idea. Wow, what a shocker. I would have never believed that. Of course it was his idea. He is a sketchy guy. I've known this for a long time, so I'm not really that surprised about it. But apparently, the burner phone initiative was his idea and has already yielded some valuable interactions. But John, we're not really going to know about those interactions, are we? Because since these are burner phones paid for by a nonprofit, not through taxpayer money, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be revealed to the public or to journalists as part of like a FOIA request. If he was sending emails through official channels, if he was making phone calls through his office, that's a different story. But since these are burner phones that are privately funded, well, he gets to engage in whatever he wants to engage with or say whatever he wants to say, you know, through these conversations on these burner phones without, you know, disclosure.
Yeah, I think it's a reminder that there are very different standards for us and for the elites. He sends burner phones to the CEOs and it's totally cool. I send them to female fans. I have to have a long talk with my wife. I don't think the world's just not fair. And I think we're reminded of that on a daily basis, thanks to the news. I'm kidding, obviously. I think that this is such a sketchy thing to do that the only explanation that makes sense is that Gavin Newsom is secretly a big fan of you, Anna, and he just wants to make sure that you have content to discuss. No, because the second I saw this headline, I was like, there's no way she's not covering this.
He's
so
such
sketchy.
He's such a target-rich environment. And like, you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm so happy that he interviewed Charlie Kirk and said he was a huge fan of his. I'm so happy he interviewed Steve Bannon. Not because I thought he did a good job in those interviews. I actually agree with the critics and how he handled those conversations. But because finally, Democratic voters have woken up to the fact that Gavin Newsom is not a good guy. He's a bad guy.
I feel like this is one of those situations that you could ask, like, tell me how you're a criminal and doing a bunch of illegal stuff without directly telling me you're a criminal doing a bunch of illegal stuff. Like burner phones. Seriously, the only reason you use those is to do criminal illegal activity that you don't want anybody to know, or you're trying to keep secrets or something like that. And as a governor, Gavin Newsom, that means by definition, he's simply trying to keep everything he's saying out of the public eye, even though he should not be able to do that. He should not be able to have close-cut discussions with corporations without the public either being aware of it or being able to ask questions about it. He shouldn't be able to do that. And Anna Kasparian is, I think she's right. A lot of people in California are starting to wake up and see how absolutely evil Gavin Newsom really is. All the lies, all the lies over and over and over again. Like, finally, people are starting to have enough, because the fallout of that same interview that Gavin Newsom had with Charlie Kirk, I mean, there was like 30%. His favorability dropped from 46% to 30%. And a third of the people who said, they liked him now have a more greater unfavorable view of him. I mean, it's huge. There's a huge fallout. So people, hopefully, I pray in California, are waking up to how evil and corrupt this guy really is. Like, he's saying it out loud right in front of your face, and he just doesn't care. Like, that's always the mark, I think, of, a psychopath, that type of a person, where he can lie to your face day in and day out, say the most horrible, whatever things behind your back, and give you the biggest, brightest smile as if he has absolutely no care in the world. I don't trust Gavin Newsom at all. And as Anna Kasparian is saying, hopefully other people in California are waking up to that reality. Leave a like, it helps the algorithm. If you're enjoying the video, I appreciate it. Let's get back at it.
It's not merely because he had those conversations with odious individuals. It's specifically because of other things that he has done that have flew under the radar, because he's got great hair and veneers that are honestly too white for his face. Okay, like, that's the reality. Oh, he's so hot because, in the world of politicians, there's a super low bar, and anyone who's not like grotesque to look at is considered hot. That's what we're dealing with right now. Like, it's just so pathetic. I hate Gavin Newsom. He is sketchy. He is scummy. He is a crook. Okay. And this is yet another example of what's going on here. Those are my opinions. All right. So Newsom has long been considered more friendly to the Silicon Valley Titans than the rest of the California legislature. Politico notoriously describes him as the proverbial adult in the room. When private pillars like Silicon Valley need a sympathetic ear or a veto, he's their boy. He's their boy. He'll look out for you.
That's my favorite thing about the story. Is I just imagine these like CEOs. They get this thing, they open it up. It's a burner phone, official letterhead. You can call me. And then in a needlessly thirsty edition, he handwrites, "No, seriously, you can call me. Like, I'm right here." And the tech CEOs are probably like, "Yeah, no, we know, dude. We knew that we could get anything we want out of you."
Exactly.
Yeah. So look, this is he's doing all of this maneuvering for the next presidential election. Like, that's what he's doing. And what has he done? He's done two things. He sat down with some of the most grotesque people in the country, and he's cozied up even more to wealthy business interests. Is he sitting down with progressives on his podcast? Is he sending burner phones to environmental groups? Call me anytime you need anything. Like, he is showing what he values. And also, he's showing a complete inability to learn any lessons from the past few presidential elections. Like, politically, tack to the center, try to appeal to some of the right-wing identity politics, culture war nonsense or whatever, and maybe raise even more money, because that's the only thing stopping a Democrat from winning. Is if we raise $1.7 billion, then we can definitely win without appealing to any actual voters. And so all this is super depressing in a time when we're not exactly like going hungry for stuff that can inspire depression.
Yeah, I mean, he has screwed over victims of wildfires that were sparked as a result of utility companies. Some of his biggest donors, PG&E is one of his biggest donors. He screwed those fire victims over, essentially ensuring that the structure of their compensation would be in the form of shares of stock for PG&E. So these fire victims are literally forced to cheer for the financial success and profit motive of the very utility company that couldn't be bothered to replace a $10 hook to keep power lines suspended so they don't fall onto dry brush and spark a fire. And that's exactly what happened in 2018, causing the deadliest fire in California's history. That's who Gavin Newsom is.
Anna Kasparian is completely right. That is exactly who Gavin Newsom is. He's the type of governor who will make you dependent on the very people who destroyed your property in the first place. That's how wickedly corrupt and evil, and I mean full on evil. Imagine having your house burned to the ground because the people responsible for it were too lazy to do what they should have done, and there's no consequences to them. There's no one yelling at them. There's no one pointing at them. Instead, the person, your governor, the person you voted for to defend you, to protect you, to look out for you, then makes the provision that lets any money that you get back, any compensation in the form of dependency on that same company to do well. The same one that burned everything you own to the ground. I mean, how evil, how absolutely evil can you possibly get? Andy Kasparian is right about one thing, though. He's got veneers, he's got hair, he's got a good look, and there's too many people in California who are stupid enough to fall for it, unfortunately. But hopefully that's coming to an end, because I pray people can see through, that big old smile that he gives, no matter what, and will just lie about anything under the sun. Because to do that, and then now he's sending them burner phones. The same company that he protected and did that he probably sent that same CEO a burner phone. Hey, if you need me to do anything else to save your company from being held accountable or liable for the very destruction that you did on the people who voted for me, yeah, let me know. Like, it's absolutely twisted, folks. But either way, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about what Andy Kasparian had to say to woke, evil Gavin Newsom in this clip. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Take care, folks, and I will see you on the next one.